You know that an Indonesian company and a startup company in this digital era might go international. They are expanding their business far in the international market. But who might that be? Well, we might find out later in this IB Talk. Talk, talk, talk. So as I explained earlier, we might have a chance to sit down and talk and break down into their business comprehensively. So I will let you in on a little secret. They are Efishery. You might not know who they are because they operate in a business to business and an international market, but they are a startup business who operates on the marine sector, or like they sell seafood. I may not know, but let's get to meet them. Hi everyone. So as I mentioned before, I might get a chance to invite the Efishery team, the board members of Efishery team, to get to know one another and of course their business. So what is their business? I already know, you don't know. So let's just invite them, Michelle and Jeremy. Hi guys, welcome.
Hi.
Please have a seat.
Okay.
So, in this IB Talk, we have a saying with the audience. The audience love them, and this is how it goes. It's easy. When I say IB Talk, you say talk, talk, talk along with the audience. Okay, let's try that. Okay, Michelle and Jeremy, welcome to IB Talk.
Talk, talk, talk.
Okay, so the audience love that, so I just have to try it. So, I heard from a little bird that a fishery in a national survey company who might go international this year, am I right?
That's true.
And I heard that you are expanding the country in a South Asian market, am I right?
Yes, that's right.
But I don't know what the country is, might be. So can you just like drop the secret already, and what country is it?
Of course. So we plan to develop on 3 countries with the highest fishery and aquaculture production,
Okay.
which are China, India, and Vietnam.
Oh my god, are you expanding to 3 of them?
No, so we only decide to expand to 1 country.
Oh, okay.
But we'll find out later. Yeah,
Oh.
after we talk about each of the countries.
Okay.
Yes.
So why China,
India and
India,
Vietnam.
and Vietnam? Okay. So why those 3 countries? Why not Malaysia or Singapore? Why those 3 countries?
Okay, so let's first talk about China. So China would be the obvious choice for e-fishery. I mean, they have the highest population, the highest GDP in the world.
Yeah, it's a really big
second in
country,
the
right?
world.
Yeah.
Yes. However, there are some cons to China, especially with the regulations.
Oh.
One of our products is we want to create an app for a marketplace for all the e-fishery market in China. However, they have a very strict app restrictions. We have to follow their local restrictions, their local norms, and so that will make this difficult to expand to China. And in terms of culture, I think Michelle has something to say as well.
So in terms of the culture of the Chinese people, they tend to use non-verbal communication. So like they will use hints instead of like actually talking out your idea or notion. And it might be not conventional for Indonesian people, as we tend to be more confrontational. Right. And the decision-making style, they are more into hierarchical, which means the higher ups tend to make the decision instead of the team members. And for the ethical practices, well, they really value personal relationships. So before we go into the actual business relationship, they have to make sure that we have great personal relationship. Well, that is all for the Chinese culture. Should we continue into the Indians?
We shall.
Okay. So what about India?
India is sort of the middle ground between all our 3 options.
Yeah, that's right.
When we compare it to China, they have quite the high GDP as well, with a high population. And in terms of government intervention, they don't really have any government interventions. They don't have any restrictions, but they don't have any incentives. So India is sort of our middle ground. We can't really decide any positive or cons within India. How about their culture?
Yeah, like Jeremy said, they're like not too much, but like we can't find anything special about them in their culture also. So like their decision-making style, it's not like hierarchical like China, but it's not also the team member one. So like they're in the middle, like in everything, including the culture.
Oh, and I also heard that the infrastructure is bad too, right, in India?
Yeah, as we
that's
know.
a consideration as well.
Yeah, it's a sad thing.
I know. So it brings us to the last choice of
Yes.
country.
Yeah.
which is Vietnam. So when we compare their GDP, their economy to India and China, Vietnam isn't as great as them. However, there is something special about Vietnam. They have great government interventions. They have such great incentives, especially for a company like us who focus on the environment and creating technology for aquaculture. The government really supports that. They have a lot of tax incentives. So as a young company, we really have more of a chance to create more revenue and more opportunities for our company.
And Vietnam, in terms of their culture, they are also more advanced, including in their decision-making styles. So now they will incorporate all the team members they have instead of like the China, they only use like the higher ups. But in Vietnam, they will include their team members for their opinions, which is great for us.
Yeah. And so once we've kind of considered everything about that, we decided to choose with the country that best fits us, which is Vietnam.
Oh my god, so you guys chose Vietnam finally. I
Yes.
love Vietnam.
Yeah, right. You love pho?
Yeah, I love
Do you love pho?
I love pho so much.
Okay, and we will also put the table, like
Yeah.
the number table
matrix. Yeah.
here.
Okay, so how you guys calculate it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's actually on the screen for the audience in the studio to see. Oh yeah, it's a great number for Vietnam, right?
Yes, exactly.
So I also heard that the aquamarine infrastructure in Vietnam is also great, right?
Yes, so one of the another pros with Vietnam is how their fish farming is in Vietnam. You know, it's become a priority for their economy and for the country itself. So it's such a great opportunity for us.
But is there anything else that you consider like what like sets you back from like, oh, I think there's something that might go wrong with Vietnam? Is there something in your considerations?
Yeah, I mean there are problems to Vietnam.
Oh yeah, from what we have researched about Vietnam, it's their water sanitation. So like it's not that clean compared to the other countries, but I think we'll get through it. Like I know we will get the solution for it. And they are also more exposed to typhoons during autumn. And lastly is the technology of production. They are not too advanced on their technology, but we have found our way to make it work.
These are the problems that we can really conquer and we can comprehend.
Okay, so I see that the harmony between the international relation board is great, working great between you, Michelle and Jeremy. So that's great. That reflected on the good good corporate governance from
Exactly.
Efishery, right?
Yes.
Especially when you guys will go international. Okay, that is all from the international relations. And after the break, we will get into the strategic and product board members, which are Laura and Judith. So let's take a break.
Semenjak ada kamu, yang lain nothing. Kebanting. So Good Sosis Premium, gak ada yang ngalahin. Gak ada yang nyaingin. Gak ada yang ngimbangin. So Good Sosis Premium dibuat dari daging pilihan terbaik. Crunchy-nya, juicy-nya, gak mungkin dilupain. So Good Sosis Premium, enaknya gak ada yang nandingin. Lebih baik So Good.
Welcome back. You're still with me, of course, Nadira, the host of IB Talk. And as I promised to you before, we will get into more deeper detail about their strategic management and their product strategy from Efishery. So now let's welcome Judith and Laura from the Strategic and Product Board. Welcome. Wow, they're all women here. So I see that lots of women are sitting in the board of directors. Am I right, in the Efishery?
Yes, it's a new breakthrough to support the feminism movement. in the last
Okay. It's very inclusive, am I right? Okay, so I see that there are redheads. Okay, it's very inclusive, right, in the fishery. Okay, so I think I should get for us to get into the IB Talk gang, you have to say our saying. So after I say IB Talk, you say talk, talk, talk along with the audience, okay? So Judith and Laura, welcome to IB Talk. Talk, talk, talk. Okay, so I think you guys are watching our show before with your teammates, Jeremy and Michelle. We talked about how they get into the decision into expanding to Vietnam. And let's review that a little bit, okay? So, what are your opinions about the company's decision into expanding to Vietnam? Are you agree or you have something to dish or okay, so what about it?
Yeah, maybe from my point of view as the also marketing and also product strategy, I think that it's a good choice for Efishery to go to Vietnam. Why? Because there's actually some of the competitors that also go to Vietnam, which is actually the name is Jalatech, and Jalatech is it's an Indonesian startup.
Oh.
And yeah, they but they more focus on the shrimp industry. But for Efishery itself, they focus on more to the fish and all of it. And for Jalatech, they have these three products that are called Jala Baguno, Jala Smart Farm, and Jala Harvest. So they are more into the management and the administrations of the business. So they come to Vietnam and they have a good, they got a good response from the market. So we think that it is also a best choice for Efishery to go to Vietnam and to have to reach more market for us. I think that's for our competitors.
Oh, so you see it from a competitor's point of view since you're in the
Yeah.
marketing, right? So since you mentioned that there is a competitor in Vietnam, but you see it as a good thing because that means you can penetrate the market. Am I right?
That's also because we have this one product that we make it as our main product to sell to Vietnam.
Oh, what is it?
Yeah, we call it as an Efishery Smart Feeder.
Okay.
So this product is technology developed by Efishery to help fish farmers in Vietnam, so they can feed their fish anytime and anywhere. So they only need their phone to control where and when they wanna feed their fish. So it gives many benefits for the fish farmer because it can increase their productions and water quality, which is actually the problems of the Vietnam itself, as before already discussed with Jeremy.
Oh, so the technology is planted underwater.
Yeah.
So it just releases food whenever the farmer wants it. Oh my god, it's really, really technological. It's very advanced. How can you think about it? It's really great. And so you think that this could be the, I don't know what business students call it, like USP or something?
Yeah.
Unique selling proposition, right? Oh, okay. So, well, Laura, the strategical board. So, are you on board with this decision?
Yes, we are very excited in penetrating the Vietnamese market, as mentioned before by my peers, about the safety and stability of the country and also the opportunity that the market has. And so we're happy to announce that one of our market entry strategies to penetrate the Vietnamese market is by establishing a company-owned foreign subsidiary. The consideration behind that strategy is more because, as mentioned before, we have this quite unique selling point where our technology is one of a kind. It's not yet owned by our competitors, and so it's gonna be quite risky if we just sell it directly to the market. So instead, we want the subsidiary to be owned by us and controlled and monitored quite closely with the home company.
So you acquired those companies, or you just like in a partnership with them?
Yes, so in the first stage of our market entry strategy, we would be partnering with local companies in Vietnam, but then we will acquisition the company to be ours so that it could be closely monitored.
Oh, so what about those step-by-step strategy? Is
Yes.
there something that you want to share?
Yes, so we have been planning this for years, and so we're happy to announce that on the stage of domestic focus that our company is already valued at 406 million in 2023, and we are already on grip on the Indonesian market, where we have around 62,000 fishermen in
Oh my
Indonesia
God, yeah,
already
that's
using
really-
our apps. So the next stage of our market entry, then we did some country assessments, as mentioned before by my peers, and that's how we chose Vietnam. And so for our first stage of market entry, we did a pilot testing project in Vietnam. We are the first product that we introduced to the market is just the app, not yet the technology yet.
Okay.
Yeah, and the first stage actually finished around last 2 months, and we found that the market was very
Open?
very
Receiving?
open receiving to the product, and that's why we are going through to the next step, which is we are currently doing further market research for the customer behavior and the buying power in Vietnam. And so soon, maybe around in the next 3 months, we will make more Efishery products available in Vietnam.
Oh.
Yeah, and our goal this year is that we would already be establishing our foreign-owned subsidiary. And also, I think we have like a lot of pitch meetings in the next months scheduled. We're very excited.
It's a crowded schedule, right?
Yes. We're planning very much and looking forward very much to invest more in R&D for our Vietnamese products.
Yeah, I think it's a really smart decision. But are you considering the how to call it, like supply chain or like value chain?
Yes.
Is there something to consider as well?
Yes, so one of our considerations of making our own subsidiaries in Vietnam is to shorten the supply chain, because, we first considered to export the technology itself, but then we thought it would be longer in the supply chain, or we also considered on just focusing on Vietnam by exporting fishes that are already caught by Indonesian fishermen to Vietnam, but then that would make the product available in a longer time. And so, our goal is to make food more accessible in the world. As we know, hunger is a very huge issue, and that's why we're trying to shorten the supply chain with this strategy.
It's a very noble strategy as well.
Yes.
For the humanity in general as well. And I saw you have already acquired the subsidiary and everything, but it needs more review, don't you think, from the marketing strategy? So what is the strategy from the marketing department into getting into Vietnam?
Okay, for Efishery in Vietnam, we think that we will focus more on 2 types of strategy. The first one is social media promotions, and the second one is from offline events. So from the social media promotions, we see that social media has many impacts for the B2B approaches, as we already know. And so actually Efishery already has some social media accounts that they have on Instagram, YouTube for sharing some informations. But however, because Efishery before is more focused in Indonesian market, we only use for Indonesian language. So Indonesian people can understand it more easily. However, because now we enter a new market sections, which is Vietnam, we try to switch our language and use more into the English language, so that many people will more understand what we're going through. And for the offline events, one thing is we see that offline events is very beneficial, because in Vietnam also they have this one expo that is very big, and it is happen annually. Which is called Vietnam Expo. And here there are 40 different nations that will come as their markets.
Okay. So you mentioned about Vietnam Expo as a channel for your offline marketing. Am I right? Why is it wise to do so?
Because Vietnam Expo is actually the largest events for exporter and also the customers. They will meet at the same place, and besides that, it's gonna be the largest trade show. It also will be the place where over 40 different nations will congregate, and we possibly think it is a very good benefits for us to come and to meet our customers. And besides Vietnam Expo, we also open for another opportunity for any offline events that will come this year.
Okay. So, is there anything else that we haven't shared?
Well, I'd like to add also one of the considerations why we chose Vietnam Expo is also because Vietnam is infamous for its cutting edge technology. Well, exporters and business people from all over the world, they go to Vietnam Expo to look at the technology. By participating in this event, well, we thought not only will we introduce our technology to the Vietnam market, but also it opens opportunities for maybe further business ventures worldwide.
I think it's very wise and it's very strategical strategy. So I think that is all from the Efishery team. So as Indonesians, we can help and support Efishery by following their Instagram account, their website, by checking them out. You will be supporting them, right? By keeping in track on Indonesian startups, because Indonesia is trying really hard at its startup sectors, right? So we as Indonesian market should support them, and by keeping on track with their growth. I guess that is all. So see you soon on another episode of IB Talk, because we will invite another Indonesian startup company. You are a user. It is Gojek Indonesia. So okay, bye.
Bye.